as we take a look at the latest coming from football this moment. It's about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Super Eagles head coach and the NFF technical director Austin EGUAVOEN has asked that a decision on the appointment of the head coach for the Super Eagles will be taken soon because crucial 2026 World Cup qualifiers are fast approaching. He also added that he would prefer an indigenous coach to lead the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The NFF promised but are yet to appoint a foreign coach for the national team since they announced they will do so in June. EGUAVOEN is talking tough, Michael. He said the decision to appoint a new manager should be done in time, and he is going for an indigenous coach at this point in time. Good decisions?
For me, a cogent and acceptable course, acceptable move that EGUAVOEN is pushing. First, it is of truth that the timing is too short for us to start looking for a coach that is coming to deliver or to bail out the cat. Because I think 2 months will be too short for any coach. Even if you call the best coach in the world as it is right now, being Carlo Ancelotti, he cannot come and guarantee you that, hey, man, I'm going to deliver to the Super Eagles the World Cup ticket at this point in time. No, I think that would be a foul cry to what we have to expect. But the truth is, the timing for the World Cup is too short. And yet, we don't have a substantive coach. And that is why I must agree with him. I agree that we need to have a substantive, and the earlier we do that, the better for us, so that even if that coach does not qualify or end up not picking the World Cup ticket for us, that coach will have a good time to be able to study the Super Eagles and get us back to where we should be. Because this year, after the African Cup of Nations out there in Ivory Coast, where we came second, I think since then we have declined in the FIFA ranking, both in the CAF ranking, name it. I think that is the last time we ranked 26th in the world. Ever since then, it has been from 37 to 39 to 40, 41. We've been shuffling around, a very good position. So first, I agree with him that we need a substantive coach, and that should be done by the NFF as quick as possible. The second vital point that he rose was about him, of the opinion that an indigenous coach should be preferable. That is his opinion, and he's entitled to it. But going by the statistics and what we've seen from the indigenous coaches, let's not go too far way back, but let's take a look at it from the era of Finidi George. Was Finidi George able to do well to convince Nigeria that truly we need an indigenous coach again? Of course, no. He saw how he messed up everything. Then, fast forward, he came in talking about Austin EGUAVOEN. 1 or 2 games that he played, Nigerians were on the high heel, like, oh, he's a good coach and all of that. But then, in the last 2 games that we played in the African Cup of Nations, you saw the result. The reverse was the case. The same Nigerian began to call for his head. So as it is right now, it would be a goof call for us to say, oh, this is the right time for us to have an indigenous coach. I would not toe that line. As we stand right now, the Super Eagles need a foreign expatriate. Not just a coach, but a coach that knows his onions, that can be able to at least give us something that can be hopeful that in the next 2-3 years, the Super Eagles will be stable. The major problem with us, the Super Eagles, is about quick result. We want quick result. But you don't want to work it out. You don't want to be patient and build. Give it 2-3 years. The result will come. But
Nigerians are not patient.
That is the problem. But then we need a foreign coach that can be able to tell to the NFF to look into their eyeball and say, this is the contract I want to sign with you. If you want to rush me to deliver on the mandate in 1 or 2 years, I cannot do it. Give me the time. 3 years, 4 years, I'm going to deliver. If I don't deliver, then you can sack me. Because if you bring in an indigenous coach, such an indigenous coach will not have the temerity to look at NFF president eyeball to eyeball and tell him that, no, don't rush me. Don't give me 1 year. I will not deliver. To them, they would think it's a big platform for them to, oh, you are earning 13 million naira a month as the head coach of the Super Eagles. And that is going to wire off their brain. And, they forget about thinking the needful. So for me, personally, I would not advocate for foreign coach. I mean, for home-based coach, because the NFF is going to keep him under their clutches. and thereby not allowing that local coach to function effectively. But if we get a foreign expatriate, I think it will be better for the Super Eagles.
Now the situation of things, EGUAVOEN, of course, calling for, an urgent appointment of the new head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And as well, he's saying that an indigenous coach will be a good decision at this point in time. Is EGUAVOEN right at this point, getting an indigenous coach and also appointing the coach in time? And talking about the World Cup qualifiers, really looking very dicey at this point, and we're looking forward to see the Super Eagles of Nigeria seeing if they can qualify for the World Cup. Michael, talking about the qualification, how possible, looking at where the Super Eagles found themselves, of course, on the group.
I think that is another very big question that it will take miracle. I tell you, it will take, if there's anything like divine intervention in football, this is what we need at this point in time for us to skate through and get the World Cup ticket. If not, I would have naturally say, let's just jettison the idea of getting the World Cup. Let's come back and regroup for 2030. And that is where we might even have a good impact. We qualifying for the World Cup is another thing. But do we actually have what it takes to go out there in the big stage to compete? Not just we qualifying for the World Cup, for crying out loud. We can't qualify for the World Cup and we'll get knocked out in the group stage. What is the essence of we qualifying for the World Cup? Is it just about getting the chunks of the money that FIFA is going to share to their member nation and to people that qualify for the World Cup? Then you go home via the group stage. Does that really make sense? It doesn't. So I would prefer for us to prepare for 2030 World Cup. If we can start preparing right now, put our acts in order, get a foreign technical advisor that is very sound, that can be able to build the Super Eagles to the test that we can be able to stand tall among other footballing nations, among the big nations in football. Talk about Argentina, talk about Brazil, talk about Spain, talk about England. If we actually make it to the World Cup, can we stand against this team in a big stage? This is my concern. It's not about we just qualifying for the World Cup. We go out there to make up the numbers without going out there to make an impact. So for me, I will advise that we Nigerians and the Super Eagles followers, let's forget about the idea of qualifying for the World Cup, because looking at the situation right now, we need only miracle for us to pull through. We are still second to the bottom, having just 3 points after 4 games played. With such dismal record out here in Africa, we're talking about our fellow African qualifiers, countries like Rwanda, South Africa. We are struggling to beat them. How much going to the World Cup where you play against other big countries like Spain? Can we actually make an impact? So for me, personally, I will not, advise that we do everything possible. If it does come our way, that is going to be a plus for the African Cup of Nations for us to prepare.